Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. Today, doing the what's next on former heavyweight champion Joseph Parker following his hard-fought but deserving 12-round unanimous decision victory over Dereck Chisora in their rematch. As Parker, made that 2 in a row against Chisora, and left no doubt that he's, on the rise in the heavyweight division. And someone's going to have to deal with him. They're going to have to deal with him at some point. He's highly rated by the WBO and the IBF. And let's take a look at what possibly could be next for Parker following this big win over Chisora and settling their score finally. So we start with the number one, Tyson Fury, the WBC champion. Not likely. Fury looks to be fighting Dillian Whyte next, and if he doesn't fight Dillian Whyte, he's probably going to pick out a sizable name to defend his title against in March. I mean, I wouldn't hold it past Fury as an outside option to take on somebody like Joseph Parker, but there's other guys that I think he could look better against, and I think Fury wants those bigger names to make, the money fights and everything. And Parker doesn't have that huge names. Plus, he's been, beaten by a couple guys that, Fury would rather fight those guys than fight Parker. So I don't see that one. Number 2 is Alexander Usyk. I don't see this fight happening next for Parker. Usyk's going to have to deal with Anthony Joshua in a rematch in April. And Parker's probably going to be sitting, possibly waiting to the second half of the year to cash in on a possible mandatory title shot with Usyk. So I don't see it happening next, but maybe down the road he'll be in line to fight Usyk, but not next. Number 3 is Anthony Joshua in a rematch, a former unified champ. Joshua's good to go to fight. He's good to go for his next fight as long as he follows through with it for April against Alexander Usyk in a rematch. So that's not happening. Number 4, Deontay Wilder. I would love to see a fight like this. I think Parker would make himself available and the fight can be made, but Wilder's going to have to want the fight. I don't see why he wouldn't. Parker's a big name and it puts Wilder right back at the top, but I think, maybe more PBC-oriented guys are going to get the crack at Wilder before a guy like Joseph Parker. But you never know. I'm not saying that's out of the realm of possibility. Number 6 is Joseph Parker. I have him at number 6. Number 7 is a rematch with Andy Ruiz Jr. I don't think Andy Ruiz wants anything to do with Joseph Parker right now. Maybe later on down the road, if it was for a title, maybe, or a mandatory fight, but I don't think Andy Ruiz is going to sign up to fight Parker again right now. It's just too high of a risk, and Andy Ruiz is trying to get back into the big fight picture. So I had Ruiz at number 7. Number 8 is Luis Ortiz. I think Ortiz would be down to fight. He's going to fight Charles Martin, and I think he's going to handle Charles Martin. I wouldn't be surprised if the IBF came out of nowhere or the WBO and said, hey, this is a mandatory fight, Parker versus Ortiz. I think both guys would be willing to do it because they're somewhat avoided, both of them, especially Ortiz, but I don't know. I'm leaning towards the less likely for some reason. Number 9 is Otto Wallin. He's dying to get somebody in the ring. Again, this might be a fight where these two guys have to end up fighting because nobody else wants to fight them next. But is Parker going to be willing to take that risk? Well, we got to wait and see because he doesn't really have any hot prospects lining up to want to fight him, 100% right now that are in the top 10. And then at number 10 is Joe Joyce and Dereck Chisora. Third fight with Chisora doesn't make sense. He's already beaten him twice, both by close decision, so there really isn't anything to accomplish more than he has if he were to fight him again. And then, Joe Joyce is an interesting opponent. Parker, why not fight a guy like Joe Joyce? I think that would make a lot of sense. It would give a lot of juice to both of them as they try to, become a mandatory contender. And to be honest, I think this fight definitely has some legs to it because Joe Joyce is highly rated by the WBO and so is Joseph Parker. So why not make this fight? But we got to wait and see if the two sides are willing. So that's it on the top 10 for Joseph Parker. So, it's one of those things you got to wait and see after all the pieces fall. Who's Tyson Fury really going to fight? Is he fighting Dillian Whyte in March? And if the fight with Usyk and Joshua officially goes through for April, what happens then? So I think Parker's going to wait. He's been in 2 tough fights with with Dereck Chisora. I think he's going to wait to see how the pieces fall, take a couple months off, and then I think he'll get back at it. But I think he's going to strike at a big opportunity, and I wouldn't be surprised if a showdown with Joe Joyce were to take place in a WBO eliminator. I wouldn't be surprised if a showdown with undefeated Filip Hrgovic were to take place in some kind of an eliminator. There's a couple guys there that I think Joseph Parker's down to fight. Otto Wallen, guys like that if he has to, as long as it gets him to a title shot. I think Parker, it's been since, I think early 2018 since he's been in a title fight, since he lost that unification bout to Anthony Joshua, and I think he's hungry to get back at it. So that's the what's next on Joseph Parker, the former WBO heavyweight champion, following his rematch unanimous decision victory over Dereck Chisora when they fought in the main event of a DAZN card on December 18th. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.